Okay, welcome to Teamwork at the Turning Point. I'm so excited we have such a big group here today. My name is Melanie Keller. I'm the program chair, and I am just delighted to have John Holmes with us today. He came all the way from Australia. I mean, when he was a lad. More chairs are coming, Linda. And so I've known John for, I think over 20 years. But why he's here is not because he's a friend of mine, but I'm happy about that. He's the CEO of an international workplace training firm called Team Results USA. And he has spent a great deal of his time working in the intelligence community. Since 1996, his combined expertise in team dynamics, psychology, math, and intelligence has led his company Team Results to be a leader in team productivity programs on 4 continents. John and his team specialize in simulation-based leadership programs based on modern ideas and science with a focus on measurable behavioral change. You can read the rest of his bio, but what I will tell you is I have been using Team Results for, I think, over 10 years in the federal government workspace. And the programs that I've done with John and his team have stayed with people for long periods of time. And one thing I'll tell you, just as an anecdote, is I had a team when I was at the National Institute of, or actually at the Food and Drug Administration, and the team was in silos, right, like many of our teams. We went to John's program. The first time you sit down and have lunch, people sit where? With the people they know. And by the second meal, people were all mixed up by their own choosing. So it was this instant team camaraderie across their siloed organizations. So John and his team has offices in Potomac, Maryland, and Melbourne, Australia. He is a firm of around 20 people, and he runs these high-performance retreats anywhere in the world. He's worked with Pfizer, IBM, Toyota, my favorite, FDA, and has a great working relationship with the State Department as well. So in addition to all of that, he had time to write a best-selling book, Crocodile Charlie and the Holy Grail, and the CD version has his amazing Australian accent in it. Nice on your commute. He's a graduate of the University of Melbourne and the U.S. National Cryptologic School. I'm just delighted to have John. This is his first time speaking at IPMA Eastern Region, and I'm just delighted to have John and his team here. Enjoy.
Well, thank you, and I am equally as delighted to be here. I'm going to introduce a couple of people. Let's begin with the man who just raced in. Come on in. Please come on in and be very welcome. He set up all the chairs. That's Tony, the chair guy from the hotel, and he's wonderful. So if you see him, surprise him, won't you, by knowing his name and saying, "Great job, Tony." You'll notice 2 other people here. One of them is Amanda Biller. She's the operations manager for Team Results. And the other one here is Andy Tobin, who's the technical director for Team Results. And they're going to help me out a little bit. So let's begin. To begin with, we're going to do a representation of a mythical organisation. This, then, is the Department of Acme. And as you can well imagine, the Department of Acme is in the state of Nevada. They're in charge of all the equipment that the coyote buys to catch the roadrunner. The responsibilities of the Department of Acme are to make sure that all the equipment is extremely dangerous and that none of it works. I'm the director of the Department of Acme. I'd just like to introduce myself for the next few minutes. My name is John Coleman. But hey, listen, while we're all together, I don't see around. Let me tell you something about Amanda. She's a great person to work with, but she drives me nuts because when she's at meetings, she's always got the handle over the desk, and you know she's emailing and texting and goodness knows what, and she's not paying full attention. When you talk to her, her eyes are always wandering around the room. I don't think I've ever had Amanda's full attention more than 50% of the time, and the whole time we've been working together. Just drives me crazy. But anyway, you'll soon find out. Thank you.
Guys, I have some information you probably should know. The boss is a huge control freak. I mean, everything has to be through him. He doesn't share information. He doesn't give us anything. We're like mushrooms. He just grows us in the dark. So just wanted you to be aware, kind of an A-type personality. I could probably tell you, but He asks all the questions. He's the tech guy. He's gotta know everything, right? He hates it when he doesn't know anything. But anytime you tell him something, he asks 10 more questions. So you can't tell him anything. Don't tell him.
I'm Andy. I'm one of the techs. And since we're all friends here, John, Amanda's never in the room. She might be sitting there, but she's not there. And John, he is the room. Anything that's in the room, he's got to have control over it. Every single step. That swanky guy with the pink tie, micromanager.
Hey guys, we've got to do something. I just saw the note. It's really simple. Okay, look, they're giving us a challenge to do. We've got to get to lunch. Okay, that's it. And I don't know about you, but I'm hungry, so I'm ready to go.
What's the note, John?
It's real. You don't need to see the note. I read the note. It's fine. I know what it says. Look, here it is. There are 3 mats there. See them, guys? Amanda. Hello. Yeah, look. 1, 2, 3 mats, right? Okay. We've got to cross those mats. And we've got to get to that wall where we're getting, presumably that's our lunch vouchers, I don't know. But anyway, that's the deal. The rule is really simple, okay? And the note just couldn't be simpler. Never leave a vacant one behind, okay? That's it. Never leave a vacant one behind, okay? Simple, nothing to it. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
Do we just step on the carpet to walk to the mats? Or why is that thing beeping, John?
Well, because I started, man. Come on, we've got to do this.
I don't even know what we're doing, John.
Never leave a vacant one behind. The note says never leave a vacant one behind. It's clear to me, and that's all I know, mate. I mean, you can ask as many questions as you like, but that's all I know.
So what's behind it? Is behind this way or that way?
Well, I think it must mean behind because I'm facing in front, so they'd be behind, wouldn't it?
Okay. Why is that thing beeping, John? I don't like that beeping noise.
Probably because I'm on the mat. I think it's because I'm on the mat. I mean, it would be, wouldn't it? Why else would it
Hey
be?
guys, when's lunch?
Lunch? Amanda, did you even hear what I said?
3 mats, right?
Yeah. Okay, it's probably all we're going to get. All right, Amanda, can you help me out?
Yeah.
All right. Here, listen. I think what we do is, if you stand on this mat, and then you stand on the middle mat, and you stay on the middle mat, that'll be right, because we're not leaving a vacant one behind. So can you do that? Thank you. Andy, how do you feel about this?
Why is that thing beeping twice now?
Well, because there's twice as many as once. I don't know, mate. I mean, I don't know.
Okay, so you want me to walk up to that 3rd mat?
Well, that was the plan, yeah, because if you do that, you won't be breaking the rules, right? Because you're not leaving a vacant one behind.
Okay, so do I just walk along the carpet and stand on the mat?
I don't know. I don't think so. No, I think you're supposed to. I think what they want you to do is stand on this mat, and then the next mat, and then the last mat.
Okay.
At some point, you've got to stop asking questions. I know you're a detail guy, but in the real world, leaders sometimes just have to do stuff. So come on, Step on this, then the 2nd mat, and now the 3rd mat. All right, so Andy, see? So everything's fine, right?
Beeping 3 times, John.
Because you're on the 3rd mat, I'm thinking. I mean, I don't know, maybe. Like I say, you can ask as many questions of me as you want, and you know I respect you, and I'll listen to all your questions, but I just don't know any of the answers.
What's that pink thing?
I've got no idea. Oh, shit.
What is it, John?
Oh, I just remembered something.
Uh-huh.
There was another piece to the note.
What was it, John?
It says we've got 10 minutes to do the whole thing.
What time did we start?
I have no idea, Andy. I just remembered.
Why do you wear a wristwatch, John?
Because it looks good. It looked like... You have to look like a CEO if you are a CEO. Like this thing's... The batteries are actually flat. I mean, I don't care.
When was the last time you put batteries in it?
Never mind that. How long have we been on the mats? Amanda, any ideas?
What?
I'm just a little uncomfortable here, John. We're kind of shooting in the dark here. I barely know what's going on here, John.
Well,
you still haven't explained what the note was in the first place, what that is, what's that blinking thing on the chair?
if I knew, I would tell you. Don't you think I'd tell you if I knew?
No.
It's just like at work. You ask me 1,000 questions. They're all really good questions, but sometimes you don't know all the answers, and you still have to do things. Listen, try this out, okay? Here's a thought. Just, Andy, just for you.
Uh-huh.
Don't do anything yet. But if you were to step off that last mat, you're not leaving a vacant one behind. We would be, but you're not. Doesn't break the rules. So if you were to step off that last mat, I reckon you could go to that thing and find out what that note says. Are you going to do that?
I'm really not sure, John, because you've told me that I can't walk on the carpet after I get on the mats, and so now I'm on the mat. And I would have to walk on the carpet to get to that pink thing.
Oh, come on, we must have like 2 minutes left. It's late, I'm hungry, and just trust me, I'm the boss. Step off!
Oh, okay.
Whoa!
I gotta go.
Not you, him!
You just said step off, and I didn't.
All right, look, it's done now. We might as well get the note. See, we got the note anyway, so what's the point? That proves exactly what I'm saying about leadership, right? We succeeded anyway. So what does the note say? Come on, let's get to lunch.
Your tickets for lunch are in the white container.
You mean they just went up in smoke? Thanks for nothing, guys. Okay, take a bow, folks. This person's name is really Amanda. This guy's name is really Andy. They're nothing like the characters they just played. But hey, you guys are the experts. You're the HR experts. You're the senior people. I have no idea what happened. I'm just frustrated to no end because this happens all the time at work as well. I show people what to do and still they don't do it. So we're relying on you to facilitate a debrief here. I think there are some hint sheets on your tables if you want to use the hint sheets, but you don't need them. You're all experts. Can somebody please just facilitate this for a couple of minutes? Ask us any questions you like and see if we can figure out what in the world's wrong with the way we work together, because this happens at work every day. Somebody please help us. Yes?
Okay, so number one, you didn't set expectations. You didn't talk about a goal. They didn't know why they were doing it, let alone how to do it. And so it's up to you as the leader to set those expectations and have those discussions.
So maybe if I explained what the job was, suggested what the role should be, made sure everybody was ready and good to go before we did anything. Thank you.
Oh, I think I was going to say something of what Lori said, is there just wasn't any direction at all, other than I think this and let's just take a chance here. Sometimes you just can't do that.
Right, because it bothers the hell out of him and probably doesn't even reach an end because he minds on 14 other things.
Right.
Who else would like to help facilitate this? Yes, please. I'm picking hands at random, by the way. Yes, please.
I think I really want to help to share the note with get multiple perspectives.
I think it would have really helped to share the note with them. Refusing to even share the note with them was a little bit high-handed, wasn't it? Plus, we would have found out about the 10 minutes. Because you bet he wouldn't have missed it. Thank you. Who else? I saw a hand up here. Oh, yes, sir.
Well, taking it one step at a time really is a better method. If you kind of looked at the whole picture and if you understood the whole picture, you could relay that to your team and they would understand the whole picture. But one step at a time kind of option the whole plan.
So me just feeding them the script one page at a time, because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm a controlling guy. I feel if I feed them the script one page at a time, they're a lot less likely to mess it up. But it didn't quite work that way, did it? So maybe I should trust these people with the whole script. They are the senior managers after all. Thank you. Who else has got a facilitation tip for us? You guys are running this debrief, not us. Yes, ma'am.
So you need to get, the whole team has to have buy-in in the direction that you're going, and you didn't have that.
Right. Because my version of buy-in was everybody understand good, okay, let's go. Right. Thank you. And feel free to comment on some of the others as well, not just necessarily on my side. But feel free, and you won't hurt our feelings because we're playing characters, okay? Yes?
Yes. As you gave the instruction to feel free to talk about the others, I think as a leader, too, you know your people and you know how they're going to act, how they're going to respond. And so I think you have to key into those things. You know when enough questions are enough to cut those questions off and to kind of gently guide. And also when the person is inattentive and not paying attention, as a leader, you have to call it for what it is. And also give guidance to guide it back to the task at hand.
Rather than just ignore it and say,
yes.
well, it's just another day and that's how it is.
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Any others? I hate to stop this, but we've still got a couple of minutes. Please facilitate this, because if we had any clue why we're doing this in the division of ACME, we wouldn't be here doing a team simulation at all. We don't know what's wrong, we really don't. So over to you.
Well, not to pick on you.
Clearly, we know where the buck stops.
Yes, not to pick on me.
But I do think that managers need to know or have a sense of the personality types. So people like that Myers-Briggs type. So obviously, not to pick on you, but you're most likely NSJ. You need to know the details, your character.
Yeah, the character I'm playing is INSJ.
There you go. So you're right.
So had you known that, your frustration probably would have gone down because you would have expected that he's going to need more details. And,
So you're saying a duck's gonna quack?
yes. Yes, and you're a whole other issue.
Oh.
I'm just saying.
If NASA had listened to their technical people, they would not have had either disaster. Those problems were both well known about. If you doubt it, there was a dissenting report from the Challenger explosion written by a guy named Richard Feynman, probably one of the best physicists this country's produced this century. And his dissenting report is really good reading, and he proves that in his report. If only they'd listened to the Andes. But of course they didn't, because they were listening to the Johns. Go, 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 go. Right? Yeah. Thank you. Look, I appreciate that very much. Thank you for your help in this debrief. I'm now going to present some material to you, and we have to farewell Amanda, because she's running our stand. But if you want to visit her again later in the day, just visit the team results stand and the exhibitor stand, and she'll give you something really cool if you do. Nothing beats bribery. So please, big hand for Amanda. And she's got work to do, she's got to go, and Andy's just going to hang out at this point, but we'll be needing him again later in the session. So I want to talk about teamwork at the turning point, and I want to start by talking about clients. I know much more about clients, really, than I do about training. If the truth is told, that's where my attention's been focused. Andy's and Amanda's as well. There is an enormous groundswell of frustration in the client base that I detect at the moment. And I'd be delighted to know what other people think about this later in the day. So come and visit. We'll be around, we'll be at the stand, we'll be hanging out. I'd love some feedback, but there is an enormous groundswell of frustration at the moment with training. There's a tremendous lack of satisfaction with what training can do for people, and its ability to get behavioural change, or not, and its ability to use new ideas, or not, and its ability to be much the same thing that it was in the time of Abraham Lincoln, or not, i.e. sit down, somebody gives a lecture, they write stuff on the board and or a PowerPoint, they walk out, you're supposed to be wiser. That really hasn't changed since the days of Lincoln. Now, it's perfectly fine if you're learning intellectual things. If you're doing the manager's course on how not to get sued because you discipline somebody the wrong way, then probably that method of instruction is fine, because you've learned some facts, you know some facts, you hopefully know enough, right, to at least know when you should speak to the HR experts, some of which, of course, are you. But elsewhere, we see a lot of frustration, and that frustration is expressed predominantly in shrinking budgets. Now, the speaker was talking about that just a little while ago. Shrinking budgets are not just about shrinking budgets. Shrinking budgets are really about shrinking confidence. If there's something you really want, you'll find the money. If you really, 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 really want something, you'll find the money. So what that tells me is a lot of organisations don't really, 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 really want training, which is a problem for me because it's what I do. And it's a problem for you because it's what you do and it's who you hire. So where does that diminished confidence come from? And what can we do about it? That's what I want to talk about today. Oh, you know what? It helps if you turn this thing on. That just really makes no end of difference. I want to begin by asking you a question. And it's a genuine question. It's not a rhetorical question. I really want to know the answer because from a selfish point of view, I've got a room full of real experts in training and learning today, and I'm not going to let that chance go by. I want to get your opinion on something. This is it. We're going to do this by show of hands. The question is, I'm sure you can read it, what percentage of the training that's done right now do you think converts into real behavioural change? I'll say it again. What percentage of the training you seek, do, run, employ, are involved with, whatever, what percentage of that do you think converts into real behavioural change? And this is anonymous, so feel free to be really honest. Who thinks less than 20%? Just keep your hands up for a moment, please. Thank you. Who thinks 20% to 40%? Thank you. You've got to choose one fairly obviously. Who thinks 40% to 60%? Thank you. Who thinks 60% to 80%? Thank you. Who thinks more than 80%? Wow. Holy cow. I mean, I thought there'd be something worth briefing, which is why I put that in on the board, but it did not occur to me that 100% of a group of experts, world-class experts in training and leadership and human resources, 100% of you would say that less than 40% of the training you see out there right now converts into real behavioural change. And half of you say it's less than 20%. Now, I don't know about you, but the last time I got 40% for an exam, that was F minus. It was geography. I was in fourth form. And the rest is mercifully obscured by history. And as for 20%, well, yeah, let's not even talk about that. And you wonder where the sense of dissatisfaction is coming from. This is a presentation about a revolution in thinking. It's a presentation about the simulation revolution. That's what it said on the program. Revolutions are caused by dissatisfaction. We all know that. This is the dissatisfaction. This is where it's coming from. That's what's driving the revolution. And the people out there in industry agree with you. One of our biggest clients is Pfizer, the pharmaceutical giant. Lots of government clients as well, but also Pfizer. Pfizer has decided on the thing called 70-20-10. And what it means is that less than 10% of their budget will now be spent on classroom training. That's how frustrated they are. Of the remainder, 20% is spent on simulation. What's that? Never mind, we'll get to that. And 70% is spent also on simulation, but this time on the workroom floor. So 90% of their budget, 9 out of every 10 training sets, is not going to the classroom in Pfizer. Now, how that goes, I'm not sure. It's a new policy. Let's ask them in 5 years. But right now, that's where they're at. Their global director of HR is a lovely, sweet person named Lou Hall, and I've known her for a dozen years. And she told us this policy was coming, and sure enough. So let's move on a little bit. What is a simulation? And you'll just have to put up with the condensation. It might take a little while to go away, but you can still read that. What is a simulation? That's the first thing I want to get to. What I'm going to suggest to you is that simulation is an option to consider. I'm going to suggest to you that there's classroom training, which has its place, but you've all seen the frustration with that. That there's team building, which has its place, but you've all seen the frustration with that. And what else is there? Well, I want to talk about simulation a little bit. Let's begin by defining what a simulation is, but you can get an excellent start. Has anybody ever played with a flight simulator on their computer? Any kind of simulator of anything at all ever? Somebody. Okay, good. You are the gamers. Excellent. But that's what a simulation is, of course, and we all get a rough idea of what it is. It's a little copy of reality. And we have tried managing a little copy of reality, but I can define it a bit more precisely than that. A simulation is accelerated real-world experience. There's three things. That's the first one. Accelerated real-world experience. So, I put you in a flight simulator, and in one day, you have a fire in the number 2 engine, you land on an icy runway, you fly through turbulence, and you deal with a disturbance in the back of the aircraft. More events than would probably happen in your whole career as a pilot. But here we can accelerate reality. And yet the environment is safe. If you crash the plane, and you will, nobody dies, because it's a simulated plane. And you just reset and you go again. So simulated environments are safe environments where you can fail. If failing is what you're going to do, that's a perfect example. That effect actually can't hurt you, believe it or not. But it will certainly give you a shock, but it can't harm you. It's a safe environment. A bad mistake made in the workplace could be anything but safe, in a wide variety of ways. It doesn't have to be industrially dangerous if it gets you fired. That's also not safe. But the unhelpful significance and the background noise, that mist's going away a bit, the unhelpful significance and the background noise is removed. And I need to dwell on that one a little bit because of this. It seems like that couldn't possibly be right. Because surely a simulation should be a very accurate copy of reality, right? The more accurate, the better. How could that be wrong? And when you look at this, you'd have to believe it. Because this is a very accurate, very faithful, very detailed simulation of the cockpit of a Boeing 737 Airbus. In fact, it's worth more than the plane is. So what do I mean by simulation only simulates some things? Well, I've got a question for you. Would it blow your mind if I told you that when you step out of that simulator and look at it from the outside, it looks like this? It doesn't look anything like an airplane. No wings, no tail, no back, no control surfaces, no nothing. The entire simulator is in there. And that's because very skillful people who know exactly what they're doing have simulated only the things they want to work on and not the other stuff. So they're not simulating taxiway procedures or runway procedures or finding a flight plan or finding a place to park in the airport or trying to enjoy that $14 rubber sandwich you just bought while you were walking to your aircraft or any of the other things that pilots have to deal with. They're only simulating certain things. The simulation works all that more well for shutting out distractions. In other words, simulation is not a direct copying of work. In fact, half the trick is knowing what to leave out. And that slide says half the trick, but having done it for 23 years, I've got to tell you, I think it's more like 70% of the trick, is knowing what to leave out of a simulation. Here are some myths about what simulation is. Let's deal with the biggest one first. For many of you, when I said simulation, you probably thought I meant computers. Who thought computers when I said simulation? Come on, be honest. Put the hands up, loud and proud so we can see who's voting. Who thought computers as soon as I started talking about simulation? Keep your hands up, please. Thank you, about a third of you. Yeah, and I don't blame you at all, because that's what simulation is to most of us. Who's got teenagers? Have you noticed it's the same people that put their hands up? That's because our kids play Xbox, and they play Nintendo, and they do, the simulations they do can be very realistic, but it's all done through computers. Similarly, in the workplace, there are simulations available now that are computer-based, but a simulation does not require a computer. A game is a game is a game. It doesn't matter what it's done on. And by the way, by game, I mean a serious game. I don't mean checkers, noughts and crosses, goofing off or something silly. I mean game in the sense that mathematicians mean it. Has anyone seen a movie called A Beautiful Mind? Yes. It's the story of John Nash, who's from West Virginia. John Nash was the father of gaming. He studied games all his life and he won the Nobel Prize in Economics for studying games. And he applied the theory of games and the way gaming is serious gaming works. And it's since been applied to politics, macroeconomics, organisational development, and yes, organisational teamwork. It's got nothing to do with computers. You and I can run a perfectly good simulation face to face with no equipment if we know what we do. Simulation is not team building. And can we pause for a minute to just admire the expression on this guy's face? Whatever actor played this guy, awesome. Get onto Google tonight and type American Airlines Team Building. It's a 2.5-minute ad, that's it. It's so good, I think they have to have used maybe the second city or the Groundlings or someone. It's so well performed, it had to be professionals. It's incredibly funny. And this is the trust fall, and as you can see, they dropped the guy. Simulation is not team building. Team building is getting a group together and doing a little fun game to play that has an objective and a set agenda and a set outcome, and the purpose is usually to say, see, we only succeed when together everybody achieves more. That's nice. You're all experienced leaders. You've all worked in big organisations. Who has ever seen a group of people get together and because they're all getting in each other's way, create a great big mess and achieve nothing? Who's ever seen that? And all the hands go up. So maybe it's together everyone achieves less. Or maybe it's just more complicated than that. Team building was popular after World War II, when a lot of leaders were leaving the military and they were thinking, how do we replace that leadership expertise? But they were 19 and 20-year-old young officers who needed to learn absolute basics. And you and the people you train are not 19 and 20. They don't have pimples all over their faces. They don't need to learn absolute basics. What they need to rehearse is the nuance. Team building doesn't do that. And simulation is certainly not telling people. Oh, thank you. Simulation is certainly not telling people and lecturing people. Because that puts them to what? Sleep. We're mammals, guys. We're mammals. We're designed to conserve energy. There's no point getting mad with somebody for being sleepy in a classroom after lunch. We're mammals. We're physiologically programmed to do that. And if you have enough discipline to stay awake, that's not necessarily a victory for us as a trainer, because the body's the whole time saying, sleep, sleep, sleep. And it's like, no, no, no. So they're having titanic inner struggle on top of the training we're trying to give them. Of course it doesn't work. I'll tell you more about that in a minute. But telling people really puts them to sleep. We have a research partnership with UCLA, the University of California, Los Angeles. And, okay, thank you. We have a research partnership with UCLA, and they're putting EEGs, electroencephalograms, on people's heads and trying to figure out how teams work when they do things. Initially, it was nuclear submarine teams. They left the EEGs running, and this group of highly disciplined nuclear submariners sat down to have the classroom discussion about what they'd just done, and what do you think happened to their workload and engagement? Like a snooker guy, like a dive bomb, right down to nothing. So this is something that even very disciplined people struggle with. Well, let's look at simulation and ask why it works. What you saw this morning was not a simulation, but it could have been the start of a simulation. The reason it's not a simulation is we didn't do it multiple times. We didn't do multiple iterations. We didn't do multiple evolutions, is the word us gamers use. We didn't do multiple evolutions. I'm not here to talk about team results, but my experience is, of course, from there. In a 2-day team simulation, we would normally seek to run about 5 evolutions over 2 days. Except for the more intensive ones, we might go up to 8 or 9. But for a regular one, 5 evolutions is enough. What you saw was 1, but it's a good start, as long as the other evolutions are also well addressed to the strategic needs of that client, which you're going to solve in a few minutes, by the way. So why does it work? At least why does it work better than other things? Here's what the science tells us. It's not John's opinion, but I can't stress that enough. This is actually what the science tells us about why simulation works, or at least why we think it works. And I'm going to cross over so that people don't feel neglected. So this little guy has got some neurons in his brain, we all have them, and those neurons encode a whole series of skills. It could be frontline leadership, it could be management, it could be whatever. We're going to train this little guy. And the first thing we need to learn is that what science tells us is that the brain doesn't work anything like a computer, nothing like it. It's only when we started to build machines that we thought people should work like machines. We didn't think that beforehand, and we don't think that now. The Industrial Revolution is over. People operate like living things. So do brains, so do organisations, so do economies, and so do nations. And there's a guy who won the Nobel Prize, his name will occur to me in a minute. He wrote a wonderful book called Thinking Fast and Slow. And he actually won the Nobel Prize for conclusively proving all of this stuff. So, moving along. Neural pathways are formed when we learn things. So, when you learn a new skill, let's suppose you learn how to do a complicated finance report and it's really difficult and it takes a few weeks to get good at it. You aren't loading new software like a computer does. You are building new hardware. I know that sounds unbelievable, but that's what the science tells us, and there is no doubt. You are building brand new physical circuits in your brain, and when you're done, you have got the finance report circuit. And that will be in your brain for the rest of your life. Now, if you don't use it for 20 years, it will fade, like learning to ride a bike when you were 6, and you don't sit on a bike again until you're 40. But when you do, at 40, you will fall off. But you won't learn in the same way as someone who has never ridden a bike, because those circuits are still there. So we build brand new circuits, but we don't do it willingly, because the brain is reluctant to put in that effort. So the only time we build brand new circuits is when we have to. Who's raised kids? Who remembers what it was like to have a 2-year-old? Remember the questions? Again, and again, and again, and again, and again. I see all parents nodding. And the explanations that you have to give them are the same thing. Wash your hands, for example. Again, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. Why? Because the brain will only build those circuits if it has to. And eventually the brain says, all right, I get it, I'll invest the effort. And the kid learns to wash his hands. The result is, I'm sure you washed your hands this morning, but I bet you don't remember doing it, and I bet you don't know how you did it. Why? Because the circuit was built in. Magic talking, however, doesn't do anything for brain circuits as far as we know. So I could lecture you about teamwork all day long, and let's suppose for the sake of argument it's a really good lecture. Too bad, it doesn't help. It's not going to make a damn bit of difference. To your intellectual understanding, perhaps. Yes, certainly, because you all have very powerful intellects. But to behaviour, no way. Because the brain doesn't build those new circuits. It discards that information as something not essential to survival. The way to learn that stuff is by doing it, by actually going out and leading and making mistakes and learning on the job. And hopefully using your theoretical knowledge, but you have to do it. How many people here, let's hope you never need heart surgery, but if you did, hands up those of you who would be happy with a surgeon whose entire knowledge comes from books online, courses, exams and PowerPoint slides. Oh, come on. Where's your sense of fun? How many would like a surgeon who has simulated that for about 1,000 hours before they get anywhere near you? Me. You want to be the 1,000th patient, don't you? Not the first one. Classroom lectures shut the brain down. Before people get angry with me, that's okay sometimes. Not everything has to change behaviour. Not everything has to be a simulation. I mean, this isn't a simulation. This is me talking. So sometimes you can get away with it, but if you want to change behaviour, if you have a team that is always late, a team that is always fighting, a team that can never get things, that can never agree on how to do things, a team that is somehow eternally out of line with what the senior leadership wants, no matter how hard they try, that's behaviour. You won't change that by talking. And there's solid science to support it. From where I hear you ask, well, 3 of the big players are UCLA, the Brain Research Institute there. Sandia National Laboratories is doing a tremendous amount on EEG-based research into behaviour. If you want some of the academic papers, come and see me. It would be my pleasure. And the University of Arizona is that one there. It's a bit hard to see. They're specifically interested in autism and in studying the neurodynamic basis of autism. But if you're interested in that, certainly I can tell you what they're doing as well. We've worked with all 3, but predominantly UCLA. I am not a scientist, and this is not my main job. We've just helped a little bit with some of the experimental designs, but the credit goes to them. The brain is not a computer, it's a living thing, and over time, if we practice the skill enough, we add some brand new circuits. And of course, the purpose, the whole point of the learning is, if we possibly can, to try and get from one to the other. But repetition and simulation is the way to do that. And if there is another way to do that, there may well be another way to do it, they may well be. But please tell me, because I don't know it. We already do use simulation a lot. This isn't such a new idea after all. I told you it was a new idea, I was being a bit disingenuous. It's not a new idea after all. It's not a new idea at all, really. We already use simulation for the most important jobs we have. Jobs where the stakes are very high, where the value is very high, and where failure would be a disaster. I'll give you a few examples. Heart surgeons, airline pilots, nurses, chefs. Can anyone think of some other examples? Critical jobs where people have always trained through simulation. Going way back, 100 years ago, surgeons learned by working on pigs' hearts. Now they have something a bit better. But they were doing simulation 100 years ago. Who else? Astronauts, police officers, right? Crisis counsellors. The first time you do a hostage negotiation shouldn't be the first time you do a hostage negotiation. If you want to know more about that, I'll introduce you to one of my friends, Roxanne Brad-Angley, who's the Chief of Hostage Negotiation for the US Park Police. She can talk anybody into anything or out of anything. But she does that because she's got 30 years of practice behind her. This is a personal catechism, but just personally, that's my ugly face down there. I'm going to stop simulating on the day that the United States Marine Corps heart surgery instructors and major airlines do. When they stop, I'll stop. But as long as they think that classroom training alone, team building alone, and lectures alone are not quite good enough, then neither do I, because I think the Marine Corps knows what they're doing. So the question really becomes, how important are you? Or even more to the point, how important are the people you represent, the people for whom you organise training? Are they, for example, as important as heart surgeons, airline pilots, special forces, and people like that who have always trained in this way? Only you can decide that, and I'm acutely aware that you can't use simulation for everything, because here's the bad news about simulation, it's a lot of work. Right, Andy? Speaking as a guy who has to do about 2,500 prop moves for every single program we run, it's a lot of work, and it's a commitment in time. But at some point you've got to decide where that line of importance is, and when behaviours matter enough to your organisation to justify stepping up the way in which people rehearse and learn. So your first step should maybe be do what we in the intelligence community, I'm a former intelligence officer, I spent 10 years in the National Security Agency and the CIA. And the first thing we would do when something dreadful happened or about to happen was a damage analysis. How bad could it be? What could that cost? What does that justify? I'd recommend the same for the training industry. Now we're going to have some fun, because remember the acne division from this morning when you had the 3 senior managers? Well, they were really impressed with, not so much with the game, but with the way you guys debriefed it. And they were so impressed that they've hired you back. And now they're going to give you the whole company, not just the 3 managers. So you're going to design a simulation, or at least you're going to design a game, the kick-off game for a simulation. You're going to do that right now, and we have some equipment to help you. But let me tell you what little I can about them to see if I can help you out. First of all, this is a company that cannot get things done on time. They cannot get things done on time, not to save their souls. They're lovely people, but they're perpetually late. They'll be late for their own funerals. They have a huge significance on things. So you can't stand up in front of them and say, hey guys, I hear you don't get things done on time. Because the reaction's going to be this. Not the reaction you want to see, right? You can't do that because they'll shut right down. You can't tell them, and they're immune to training. They're trained and trained and trained, and they're sent on this compulsory training and that compulsory training and this PowerPoint and that PowerPoint, and they are so sick of it, and it is the last thing they want from you. You've got them for 2 days. We need to start on the right foot. The first game is the most important in any simulation. And your job is really simple. I want you to make them laugh about their dysfunction. For the first time ever. The first time ever. The first time they have ever laughed about the fact that they can't get stuff done on time. And the minute they laugh about it, they're well on the way to better solutions and better strategies. Does that make some sense? Good. You're going to design the problem, you're going to present it, and what I'm going to do for you, I'm going to do a 1-minute wrap-up at the end, but you've got about, I'd say 15 minutes for this, maybe a bit longer actually, maybe 20. But I'm going to do a 1-minute wrap-up at the end, but only 1 minute. However, the design you produce today, if you do a good one, and please do a good one, we're going to write that down for you, document it, turn it into a procedure, and share it with everybody who leaves me a business card today. And that will be a thing that you can take back to work and use without limit because it's your intellectual property. So please feel free to do that and make sure you leave with something tangible today. The way to do that, if you want a copy of the design, you need to leave your business card here because I'm not psychic. But we'll get that copy of the design to you later today or early tomorrow. Andy, please show them what materials we have for them. Let's bring them out, would you?
Yep. The swaths just a little bit.
So I'm going to turn off the projector. Actually, no, I'm not, because it's just about dried out. It's just getting nice. So I'll leave the projector going. And you should feel free to use these spaces. I think probably that space is the least encumbered. And start thinking about what to do. Now, Andy and I are technicians. We're happy to help you. If you need someone to get down on their hands and knees and put some string line on the floor to make a no-go zone, to design a square that's a no-go zone, we can do that. If you need somebody to stack one milk crate on top of the other, or fill a cup full of water, or any of that, we are technicians, we can do it. And I'm going to hand over to you and invite you, using these materials, all of which are materials we've used ourselves on simulations many, many times, so they're all tried and tested, even Ali here.
Can't do a program without Ali.
Can't do a program without Ali, we're very superstitious. Please come out the front and design a challenge. Remember your goal. Your goal is to help them discover that they can't get things done on time and why they can't get things done on time. The game should not run for any longer than about 10 to 15 minutes at the most for this group, so don't give them more work than they can do in 10 to 15 minutes, and 10 will be better. And make sure that it puts so much reality in their face that they have to laugh. Do you have any questions about what I'm asking you to do here today? Okay then, Andy and I are here to help you. Please take over. Here are your materials. Go. You've got 15 minutes. Somebody needs to explain what the game is. I think I understand. Let me tell you the bit I think I understand, since I'm playing the part of the client. I think that the goal is to get, I think the following things are true. I think the goal is to get Allie the alligator out of the electrified mesh without electrocuting her. Or ourselves. Is that true?
Yes.
I also think that neither me nor any equipment is allowed to touch the ground inside the string line. Is that true?
Yes.
I can do this, but I can't step in.
Right.
What else, please? Because I see some cups, and then we're going to wrap it up, sit you all down for 2 minutes.
So in order to get the opportunity to save Allie, you have to knock this down. Once you knock this down, then there are tools underneath.
How clever.
Oh, okay.
The box.
I'm bow down before you.
So did we unelectrify the middle once they got in there?
That is sensational. So let me,
side by side.
So once you get
one
the
person?
tools out, it's unelectrified, you can go in.
So let me just back it up a little bit. In addition to everything I just said, as I understand it, you have the option to have some equipment. You can decide to go without. But if you want it, then you're going to have to make it available to you, and you're going to have to disarm that device in order to get to the equipment.
Correct.
Which is going to start a great big argument between the people who think it's worth doing and those who don't. Those who are mindful of the time and those who aren't, and mostly they aren't. And of course, one of you is just standing in the background with a stopwatch. And who's got the Groucho Marx form? Give it a good squeeze.
Linda's got
Give it a
it.
good squeeze. Okay. So that could be
So you're the timer.
limit, couldn't it?
Okay.
That could say, you could say that could be 5 minutes left. We'll go 5 minutes left.
We only think the hit
We're going to group people who just have 2 people working.
You want to give them 5
Over
minutes?
here, one over there.
That's long.
5 minutes.
So they have 5 minutes in which to do this game, and maybe 3, and maybe you sound the horn once every minute,
Okay.
and then really loudly at the end. And what I think they're going to do is manage it quite well technically, but I think they're going to run out of time, because that's what they do at work.
Right.
I could be wrong, and you must never set them up to fail. That's unethical. But I think they will fail because of that. That would be my expectation. This is completely sensational. Please leave it. I'm going to photograph it, turn it into a set of diagrams and instructions, and send a copy to every one of you who leaves me a business card on that chair, on that table. Please give yourselves a big round of applause and sit down again. So, guys, you don't know me very well, so you probably don't know if I'm a guy who just says congratulations and doesn't mean it. But Melanie knows me. I'm not a guy that says congratulations and doesn't mean it, because I don't believe in BS, and that's a habit that came from 10 years of intelligence work where BS can get you killed. So I just don't believe in BS. Guys, fantastic job. Give yourselves another round of applause. That is one of the best designs I have seen, ever, including stuff we've come up with ourselves. It's completely brilliant. I'm going to turn it into an exploded diagram and procedure so that you can reproduce this game at work. And as you do, by the way, you'll find the same things happens to you that happens to us, which is you'll think of half a dozen improvements. And then you'll run the session, and you'll have some things you're happy with and some things you're not. You'll come up with more improvements. And eventually you'll come up with something that's absolutely bulletproof. What I love about this is you follow the advice. There are no computers involved. There's no team building involved. There is no simple way to do this. Right? There's no little patronising, together everybody achieves more, la la la. There's nothing like that. That game is just too damn hard. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know how I get out of there. I really don't. I think I want the ropes, but that's about as far as I'm taking it. That's a simulation. That's non-linear. And finally, you don't need to lecture them at all. You just need to say, here are your instructions, do this, and they're going to self-educate so fast you won't believe it. Are you happy with what you created? You should be. I want to wrap up with some more advice. Here's the first thing. You need to measure behavioural change. People are cynical. They're used to training not working. So don't expect them to believe that simulation is better. You have to show them, which means you need to benchmark the behaviour before and you need to benchmark the behaviour after. Be sure that you do that. Find a way to do that. A behaviour like lateness, of course, is not very difficult to benchmark. You need to report upward on effectiveness. Senior leaders aren't necessarily aware of what you're doing. They're senior leaders, they're really busy. Not only that, but if you are fairly senior yourself, you might be the most senior subject matter expert in training and development. In other words, your boss is not a training and development person at all, because you're the most senior training and development person. So you're going to have to explain it to them. Be sure that you do and take the time. Mark it outwards on the return on investment. Make sure that other people sideways of you understand what the return on investment is. You're much better off just getting them curious about a team that suddenly can do things on time when they suddenly couldn't do things before. Make that really prominent. Promote the hell out of them. Praise the hell out of them. And when people come to you curious as to how they did it, never mind you, how they did it, you're winning. It's time to go home and buy yourself a big ice cream. And remember that you are the experts, and don't be afraid to be the experts. Once in a while as trainers, you're going to have to be in the role of a cardiologist who has a patient that weighs 400 pounds, smokes 5 packets of cigarettes a day, never exercises and lives on garbage. Now you can either kind of smile and shrug and say, oh well, you're my friend and I'll look after you, and I guess I won't say anything because that's the way it is around here. Or you can find a little bit more courage and say, I am your cardiologist, I am your doctor, I will always have your back, but you will never have my approval while you keep these habits. Now that takes a lot of courage because they're not going to hug you for saying that. But as a subject matter expert, it is my opinion, sometimes you have to leap from the lion's head and have a little bit of courage. And just find a charming way of doing that. And also, please know that you're not alone. I've got your back, so have my team, so have many others, so has everybody in the whole world that does simulation, from NASA to the Jump Medical Centre in Peoria to all kinds of other people. These resources are available to you. If you don't have them, give us a call, we'll connect you. We're not consultants, I won't charge you for this. It would be my pleasure. Finally, if you want to get in touch, that's how you do it. If you want to hang back and have a talk, you're certainly welcome to. I think we're about ready to stop, aren't we, Melanie? It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you today. Thank you very much.
I don't want to get a lecture fire. John, I just want to thank you so much for being here and coming all the way to Saratoga with your team. IPMA has 2 really nice gifts. One is from the Saratoga Olive Oil Company and the other is from the Saratoga Tea and Honey Company. Ooh. And then of course we made the donation to that leadership group. And thank you so much, John.
Thank you.